All right, so we're just going to take some deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're just going to relax, release that energy of the day. We're just going to align our energies together. I'm going to place this beautiful blue light of a pyramid around us. And this pyramid goes all around our energetic body, all around our physical body, inside of our rooms. And the light just aligns us to the highest vibration possible. It aligns us to the most highest information that we can get for Elizabeth right now in her journey, to the questions that she has. And so I now ask the conscious mind to recede with much love and much thanks, and for the higher self to come forward with us as we're going to go on this journey to get answers to the questions that Elizabeth has. So while you're there, was the higher self allowed to able to connect in?
Yes. Yes, it is connecting in.
And are we speaking with today through the higher self?
Luminalia. Lumina. The one on the council of the seven Elohim.
Well, welcome.
Just adjusting
Yes,
to the
absolutely.
body.
And while you're adjusting, Elizabeth had got the information that you guys wanted her to connect in with who we call Valentine. Is that correct? Were you sending her that message?
Yes, Apollo was sending him for this time. He was sending him to me. He was sending him to this session, to this place. I'm just connecting in with him. He is Eros, the Elohim Eros of the love vibration, the pink ray of God.
And that's who we have modeled the Valentine after?
Yes, well, these sort of myths around the love character, it comes from these times when the Elohim came to the earth and imparted their wisdom. So this being actually stands for the not just romance as you know it, but the pink ray of love of source, which is the unconditional love that God has for all of us, and also the self-love, the love that you have for God within, the flame within. So really it is encompassing all of this, and also devotion and passion.
It's beautiful. Thank you for clarifying that while you're getting adjusted to the body. How are you feeling in the adjustment to the body?
It is more pleasant to be in the body, but it would be better if she went out and connected with nature a bit more.
And then what does that do when she connects with nature? How does that make it more pleasant in the body?
Oh, it opens up these new pathways, just makes it very easy. There is more pathways opening up as well, but she feels it as a dizziness within her. There is one opening up right now. She is feeling this sometimes within the head, this dizziness, and this will continue. The physical symptoms will be worse if she did not ground them in. So this is why she needs to go out a bit more often to ground these in, because the symptoms of the body changing will be more harsh.
Is that with any, I know a lot of us are experiencing ascension symptoms again, with all the solar weather. Is that just for all the symptoms? Is grounding a great way to help with those symptoms?
Yes, connecting in with the earth, connecting in with the earth mother is a fantastic way of alleviating these symptoms, because she is already at this stage, and you connect in with her. It is stabilizing the physical body. So she does not have a phone. She does not have a laptop. She does not stay inside. So she is more connected in than you are necessarily. So when you and you connect in with the earth, then you receive this as well. She is not distracted from her evolutionary path.
Absolutely, I understand. We are distracted right now in numerous ways, but Elizabeth was having those sensations in her head. That was a lot of pressure around her third eye and the top of her head. What was going on there? What's been happening to her brain?
The neural processes are changing. There is evolutionary processes with the crystallization of the body complex. What is going on is the light is making its way in through that, and is now the light from outside is going in and making all of these changes. And also the Elohims are doing adjustments to the body, and the angelic guides that she has that looks after the body have now sprung into action. So we have a guide. His name is Arcana, and he does this. He helps with the physical body. There is more than one. There's more than one that works on the physical body, but the Elohim work on the physical body too, and the council often comes in even when she is unaware. The council will come in and they will begin to work on the body.
Is there anything we can do in this session today to help um, ground her a little bit more and help with the symptoms of the head pressure?
She needs to just go out a bit more, but also I can just, well, give a clearing to the spinal column. Apollo was doing a healing before where he was incorporating the left and right hemispheres of the body, the masculine and feminine elements, and connecting them more in with each other. And then this sort of is connected at the spinal column. So the spinal flow is just going to be cleared out now.
Thank you. Now, when you say the masculine and feminine side, which side is the masculine side?
So the masculine side is actually it's the left side of the body, and then the right hand side is the feminine.
Does that left hand side of the body, is it the right hand side of the brain? Because we're always taught that the right side of the brain or controls the left side of the body, or does it not matter? It's just the left side of the body.
Actually, it doesn't matter so much because you see, these are meant to be more integrated with each other. It only became separate once humanity lost its original body complex from the physical. This fell. Its original Adam body, Adam and Eve type of bodies. There was how do I explain this? It was corrupted, the file was corrupted, let's just say. And then the two hemispheres of the body were more split off with each other instead of going in with each other and integrating in, how do I explain this? Do you know the wand, the hermetic symbol of the wand of Thoth, how it has the two snakes that intertwine and then the wings? Do you know this symbol?
Yes, we used it in the medical field too.
Yes, well, this symbol is, you see how these two snakes are intertwining with each other. This is what is meant by the original Adam body with the two sides. The two hemispheres are integrated, if that makes sense. Instead of just being disjoined from each other, they are curling around the spinal column, and the spinal column aligns with the prana pole, which is the I guess vortex that extends from this source sort of energy on the top of the head, and this opens up and then goes into the body like this prana pole sort of a thing. And then the like at the base of the body, at the genital area and down below, there is the connection in with the Earth Star chakra at the base of the spine. And this energy comes up through the earth and then intersects with this energy that comes from above. But there are many components to this, which this symbol is representative of. And then the wings, which is, like, some people have said that this is a at the third eye, but this is more so to do with the toroidal field around the soul, the soul of the person. So wherever the soul resides within the body is where there is a toroidal field around this area. And when there is a toroidal field around this area, this appears as wings. And angelic beings can have multiple toroidal fields that come in and out of their soul complex because of their advanced energy bodies. So this is what this symbol is representative of, is the snakes, which is the vortex of the masculine and feminine energies coming up, and the vortex going down from the source energy. So there's these two, if you can imagine like the toroidal field of the heart, and it is a warping motion, a warping sort of apple shape. And then there's a vortex that goes through the middle that is like a pole. And there are drawings of this that are available, but I am just explaining the way it is.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you very much for explaining that. Now, we wanted to see more information about Elizabeth. She has a history with Anubis. What can we call an Anubis, or can you help us understand? Because Because you know what Elizabeth wants to know. If you can help her understand what she'd like to know.
Yes, because she has had a connection with this being that is, it's important to what she was doing now, what she was doing now, especially with the Lyran work, because he was a Lyran being, but also with her life right now. There is a pattern that took place at that time that we speak of. So I may just take her into that right now so that we can explain what took place in that particular lifetime that I came to Earth. And I'm going to connect in with Anubis now.
Yes. Was that before we do that, are you saying the pattern followed her into this lifetime?
Well, she has this, but this pattern is she played it out with Anubis as well. I was not doing so well when I came to the Earth plane the last time. Well, I was, but there were times where I was challenged when I came into a body on the Earth plane in the times before times, I guess you would say. The times that you know of in the Egyptian history as Zep Tepi. And we were all challenged as Elohim when we took physical bodies and came to the earth plane. It was a very challenging time for us. So I made mistakes, and this was one of the mistakes of which I made.
Thank
My
you. Yeah.
interaction with this being, whom I very dearly love, but there was a problem with how I dealt with it, if that makes sense. How I dealt with it could have been a lot more loving. There were mistakes that were made. Some of these beings called the gods in their relationships with each other, they made mistakes just like humans did, because we were bound to a physical body at the time and it was challenging. So we did make mistakes just like everybody else.
Thank you for calling him in and allowing us to explore this lifetime. So, as we're calling in that lifetime, what is going on around you right now?
Mm. It's it's quite cold, and we're all going somewhere. I've been sent to beyond the mountains, and with this being, and he's accompanied me on this trip, and it's quite cold, and we are it feels like, I don't know where to call this place, whether it was the Italian Alps or something. I'm not quite sure. But there's a lot of, wagons and big horses and beasts, and I think there's even some camels. It's like we're traveling to and from places, and this is, I think I've been sent here because there's more Nephilim forces that are on the other side of, or where we need to go. So I see we stop occasionally. It's very cold, and this is where I was sent with this being Anubis, and he just looks like he wears his armor most of the time. He doesn't want the people to he doesn't want the people to see his face because they'll know that he's very much alien. I'm alien too, but he looks more alien than I do. A lot more. So we've been sent to this place, and there's a few Egyptian soldiers with us that are quite nice, but a lot of the men are quite rough and whatnot, and Anubis, he doesn't talk very much, and we stop from place to place, and then we set up these tents. And it feels like I'm wearing, some furs as well, and no, I think I'm in charge of this operation.
And who are you? Are you a male, a female? Explain to me a little bit who you are.
I'm a female Elohim being. I'm quite tall, quite tall. The people are kind of small. They come up to like my waist. Um, Anubis is tall. He's kind of like me, except like maybe he's like just a little bit shorter. Um, and I've been sent here to get a job done because after the big battle, we had to scatter. I've been sent over here, and there's the others have been sent to different places, and we each have to, take care of certain, I guess, Nephilim and their armies, which are in all of these other directions on the earth. So I guess this is, kind of around the Italian Alps, it looks like, or, this sort of place. And it's like it's a mountainous sort of area, and it's quite cold. And there's some snow that comes from the sky, and then it's quite pretty. It's really quite pretty. Mm. And then sometimes, you do see mammoths and whatnot.
What is your
Anubis,
what is your relationship with Anubis?
well, he's been sent to help out as well. He's very, very good. So they sent him to help with this because he is this being like the name Webpuppet comes to mind because he's actually this being as well. They're the same thing. And he was like a soldier. He's very, very good at what he does. And we're expecting a big fight. So I've been sent here because, I'm good at what I do. I'm very I'm a little bit spicy, I guess. So they sent me because they know I can handle it. And they sent him so that because they know he can handle it. And he's a very proficient warrior. And there's a few seeing there's a couple of like different ET warriors actually. They're very good at what they do. Thoth isn't here, but I think he's somewhere else at this time. But there's a couple of different ones. And there's Anubis as well. And he just wears the armor and he kind of it's got a helmet on the entire time and he doesn't talk very much. See, we're like, sort of set up camp and stopped, so I haven't seen his face very much. But he's telepathically communicating with me. But he doesn't communicate with the others. He just sort of stands there. And so I'm talking to some of the others and he does take his helmet off and he's one of those elf things, the Alucard beings. And he's got like, some scruffy black hair and big sort of alien black eyes, and his nose isn't too big either. It's clear that he's not human at all. And so he's just and he communicates with me sometimes and then he goes back out of the tent and he sort of knows that I'm in charge, but I don't know if he's quite trusting of me yet. I'm not sure. He seems kind of standoffish at the moment.
Who I know the Nephilim are expected to be in your path, but is that who you guys are expecting to have the fight with? Or is there who is that you guys are expecting to fight with?
Yeah, this Nephilim being, um, one of Set's sort of the ones that he sent out to take care of, this sort of area in Europe. But also there's these we know that there'll be these demonic sort of black smoke things as well, that they'll show up, and we know that there'll be reptilian beings as well that'll show up, and yeah, so we're preparing. We're preparing. So this is why they've sent him, because he is like, crazy good at taking these things down. So, he's like trained his entire life for this stuff back on his home world. And he is really, really good at doing that. And so I trust him with that. And I'm really good at doing it too. But, I don't want anyone to get hurt either. Hmm. So I'm seeing we move on and that we pack the tents back up and we go. He doesn't take his helmet off in front of people. He doesn't like to do that. Doesn't like to do that at all. He sort of keeps his alienness very away from people. I wonder if there's something that happened before, but I don't really ask him about it. But when he's around people, like the helmet's always on, he doesn't take it off to reveal his alien looking face.
So let's look at a significant interaction between you and Anubis to help us get more clarity on what you would call maybe the mistakes and how you handled yourself.
Mm. So I feel like the caravan is going through a forest. Well, it would be called a caravan or a war sort of march. We're on the pathway to where we need to go. And there's like I would say that there's a surprise attack as we went through this forest. It feels like that. And I was just like um protecting like the rest of the caravan, and he goes out in front, and then he's attacking these things. There's these reptilians that are attacking the horses and all this stuff going on, and there's people running everywhere, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and I decide to come out and start start killing things, I guess, to stop it from happening. And I'm over there, and oh yeah, then there's the looks like there's the big smoky black demonic things, and I'm like, oh, uh, I've got to take care of this one, so I go off and see that kill that sort of a thing with like a blade of light. But I've been looking around and I can't really see Anubis. I wonder where he is. And I think he's on the ground. Yeah, I don't think he's going so good. Okay. Yeah, this is not good. Yeah, I think he's just on the ground somewhere in his armor. Something, and my back was turned with this thing, getting getting rid of it. So I'm gonna collect him and go inside because I didn't want any of these extraterrestrial beings, the warriors that came with us. I didn't want any of them getting hurt, especially not this one, because this one I feel like he's important, but I'll just sort of got him and drag him back inside, and we've had to set our tents up like in an emergency because there's obviously lots of wounded people now that we've had the surprise attack, and then we've killed these guys, and then they've gone away. So now we're just gonna set the tent up, and he, he's still alive. He's just wounded, and he's like telling me, "Don't take my helmet off. Don't take my helmet off." I'm like, "Okay." Well, he's just telepathically telling me, "Don't take his helmet off." I'm like, "All right, all right." So yeah, I quickly, I grabbed the tent and stuff like that, and I sort of grab him and set him down, and I'm seeing that I um levitate tent up a bit and just get people to peg it down, some of these other things. So I begin to set up this tent. And, I'm going to, administer to him in the tent because he doesn't want his helmet taken off in front of everyone and his armor. So I have to set this tent up. So the tent's set up, got it down, and then I just drag him inside and close the door of the tent. And it's just on the ground, and okay, yeah, I've taken some of his armor off, and yeah, it's got all this blood everywhere. So I'm just taking it off, and there's a certain, this is like it's not armor the way that you think of it. It's a special like sort of suit, like a mecha sort of suit. It's got this intelligence to it. So he's telling me how to take it off. I take it off, and then he's there, and it's got this big gash and whatnot, and yeah, something's got him. And there's nobody else that's allowed in here. I tell everyone to get out because he doesn't want anyone to see. He doesn't want anyone to see him. So I begin to heal him, and he doesn't have any clothes on anymore. And he's this long, sort of skinny looking, Lyran being. And he's upset. And he's said that he's quite guilty about not protecting everyone. Like, it's okay. It's these things happen. So I'm healing him, and it's just like the cold ground underneath. It's not very pleasant. But I'm thinking that maybe later on I'll get a bed in here for him and something to help him. I'm gonna have to set something up in this tent later on. So I'm using my healing abilities to help him, and it's quite deep. He's been stabbed. And there's just all of this stuff all over the place. It's like his guts were coming out a bit. That's no good. So I'm just gonna put them back to where they need to go, and then use I have these crazy sort of capabilities as one of these Elohim beings, I guess. Like, really, like, I can do things on the body, like, miraculously. So I'm asking him if it's okay for me to do this, obviously, that I can work with his higher self to do what it needs to do to, put himself back into place, because, it's not his day to die yet. So we've got to patch him up. And he's got wounds here and there, but then there was that main one that it's in the lower intestine, and this big sort of gash, and his guts were spilling out a bit. So it's obviously not good, and we're gonna have to stay here for a bit because I'm not going to move forward with him in this situation. So I'm cleaning him up with some water. Like, there's like this, there is a stream nearby, which is good. And so I get some water, and then like a jug of water, and then start to clean his body up. And then, I'm just wrapping him up so that this energy work that I did, he'll, reform himself, and then I'll go back in and check on him, each day, and I see that I've sort of set him up on some furs in the corner and got it a little bit more warm in here because I feel that it's cold. It's cold in this forest. And so I'm not gonna, like, a couple of the humans are really annoyed, but I don't want to let him just, I really don't want to go any further until we get this sorted out, until he's healed. And I tell them that we're not going any further until he's healed. We're not, and not everyone agrees with this, but this is what's going to happen. But the other extraterrestrial beings, they agree with me that, we need to wait until he's better, and there was a couple of other ones that were hurt too. So we're just getting medical care for them as well. So we're all setting the tents up now until everyone's better, and then we can make our way out again. But they're worried that, they'll come back and they'll hurt us again. The people, the ones that did the surprise attack, the dark ones, everyone's concerned that they'll come back. But I'm like, it's okay. I'm not going to we're fine here. We need to recuperate. I'm not going to go any further with him like this. I'm not going to go on with him like this. It's just not going to happen. So I take bread to him, and the bread that we have is just awful. It's just some horrible sort of stuff. But he takes it and he eats it and whatnot. And then, I have the tent a bit more set up so it's a lot more comfortable. And then he opens up to me a bit. He opens up to me a bit more. And he starts to telepathically tell me about his life and where he came from and what he was doing. And I'm like, oh, that's nice, while I'm doing the healing for him. And he starts to grow acquainted with me, and he's just, it's like he didn't trust to begin with, but now that he knows that I'm okay, he trusts me a lot more. And he's just saying, doesn't want them to come in and see him like this. He doesn't want them to come in and see him like this. So I'm like, okay. I won't let them in. I won't let them into this tent. This will be our special tent. Nobody else can come in. And you can tell me whatever you need to know, whatever I need to know until you get better. So we're in this situation for a bit, and then he feels good enough to I guess to leave. And then I see that we're packing up, and he's very, very grateful that that I looked after him like that and whatnot. And I think we are sort of packing up now, and we're going to be on our way. So he put his armor back on. I'm like, maybe be careful. Be careful, and take care of yourself if this happens again. Like, I don't want to lose you, like, because we had some chats in the tent or conversations, and I really like you, so don't don't go doing anything silly. And he's just like kind of like, oh yeah, all right. And just he doesn't say very much, but there's a lot going on. So we're back on the road again, I guess.
And then what happens?
Mm. It appears that, we're going close to the place that we need to stop at. And there's a few towns that we go through, and they kind of look like fairy tale sort of towns, which is quite strange. This is so long ago. Just sort of feels a bit strange that there's sort of fairy tale looking towns. Well, past these towns, then we'll be at the place where we need to go. Be at the place where I guess we need to fight these things. And these towns, it looks like they're abandoned. I'm looking around and there's no people here anymore. There's no people. They just left this place. It's very eerie. It's like a ghost town, and we're just walking through there. And it's become obvious that, something's really wrong has gone on with the world, and this is just I guess what you can see of it. All of these ghost towns and people who have run away to survive. And I don't think there's many people that live in these places anymore. So they've just gone to ruin. They're just deserted. So we make our way towards the edge of this. And I want to say that there's like it's like some castles as well, but we go past these, and we know that we're kind of in enemy territory, I guess. So there's this trepidation as we walk through these places. And they're just I can tell that they're at the edge of this other forest. So we're gonna stop and then we're gonna set up here. Gonna set up kind of like in this wilderness area away from the town, because I don't wanna fight in the town. I don't wanna do that. Too many places where they can hide. So we set up here and then we just hope for the best. And they quickly notice our presence and make themselves known. And like I'm kind of looking up on this hill, and they've appeared at the top of the hill. So I'm like, okay, and we were prepared for this. So, we're all armored up again, and we've set up and nearby. And so now we're going to fight with these beings, I guess. There's like a human sort of army. There's quite a lot of these sort of ugly looking humans. Oh, they're ugly looking things. They're like brutes. And then there's some reptilian things, and then there's, gosh, it just kind of looks like it looks a little bit like a fantasy sort of. It's all sorts of, there's some strange things going on. And so I have my armor on, and I'm walking on my this animal. It's like this big sort of elk, a big prehistoric elk. And I can see very easily on this animal. It's a big sort of animal. And sometimes there's it just looks crazy. Like it's just I think, some of them have like elephants or mammoths or something. I don't know. And they're just like sort of charging at us, and I I just sort of shoot them down with this energy sort of stuff because I'm an Elohim being. And then Anubis is there in his armor, and he's like gone straight for these darker beings that are wiping a lot of people out. And I'm just standing or riding this big giant elk thing, an elk animal. And some of these ugly little human things, they look like goblin-y sort of. Well, they're not goblins, they're humans. They're just ugly. They're like cavemen sort of a thing. They've turned into brutes. And I can't even say that these are people anymore, honestly. It's just they've de-evolved. They're not, and it makes me sad actually. But a lot of these things are fighting for the dark ones, these brutes. And I just kill them very easily. Like all I need to do is just like knock them with a big energy wave. Like they come to me and they try and attack and they're like, "Meh." I just knock them I just knock them away and then they just die. And it's just like I'm just moving around now and trying to scope out where the threats are because these silly things, these silly like caveman things, they aren't much of a threat. But I have to always scope out where the threats are, and Anubis he's found some. He's found some quicker than I have actually. He's very good. So he's seen some like there's this big sort of this big reptile dude, and he's like Anubis is cutting this thing up. He's just like like going like very aggressive and going ham at him, or getting very there's a lot of movement going on and this thing, and he's just getting rid of it. And so beyond these sort of reptile things, I start to see that there's this darkness, there's this dark energy. They kind of set the stupid human things up to run at us first, to, you know, sort of distract us, because the other things are a little bit further back, the more threatening things, and that's what I'm interested in. That's what I get rid of, these sort of things. So I can see that there's like this sort of wafting dark presence, and I'm very interested in that. So I zero in on it, and I use this sort of rope of light, and I chain it, like I just, you know, start to wrap light around where I think this thing might be coming from, and there's, oh, okay. Okay, it's become visible, this floating thing, this floating black sort of smoke that I could sense. And I've wrapped chains around it in light, and it's become visible, and it's like writhing around, this thing with black smoky thing with wings. And it's on the grass, and there's all of these, you know, sort of people around it, and I'm like, you know, stay back, everyone. It's just it's kind of in the middle of this battle, and I've got this thing, and it's, oh, okay, it's a bit confronting to look at. It's like screeching and very, very demonic looking thing. And, you know, this is why they would have sent me, because I don't know, I can do something with these guys. The others can't do much with these things, but I can. I don't know if it's a Nephilim, or if it's one of their minions. They like to disguise themselves like the others, you know, so that we don't know if we've got it or not, if we've got the real one. And I know that they like to do this. They like to, you know, play dress ups as each other. So this thing looks like a Nephilim, but I'm not quite sure. So I'm just going to, you know, get rid of it anyway. So I have this sort of sword of light that comes out, and I just come over and just chop its head off. And the body's like continuing to move. It's quite creepy. I'm telling everyone to get away from this thing. But then I I decide to, I hold my hand out, and then I just, you know, blast it with light, and then it stops moving, and then I take a good look at it to determine what it is, because, you know, I want to know that, you know, what we've got here, what we're up against. I can't see Anubis at this point. He's off doing something else. But I'm just, you know, surveying these more like very dangerous, darker sort of beings. And just, you know, sort of lift its body up to check, but I don't think it's our guy. I don't think it's the Nephilim. This is something else. This is another sort of creature. It just looks like almost like a dark vampire kind of a thing. I don't know what to describe this thing, but I set its body on fire anyway. The body's on fire now, and I'm going to go look for wherever its leader is. So I'm on the back of the elk again and wandering around. And I just basically, what I do is the other extraterrestrial beings, they get rid of the reptilians, the human forces get rid of the caveman dudes, and I go around and I search for the really dark demonic looking things. And then I, identify them, I wrap them up, I kill them, and then, I just, have a look at the body and see what's going on. So this is kind of what I see that I'm doing in these battles. And and if there's any danger with the other extraterrestrial beings, if they're in any sort of danger, which I do see that they are in sometimes, then I stop that from occurring as well. And I do the plans for things as well. I do the battle plans. But mostly, and I lead the whole caravan. This is my job, but also when I'm actually in the battle, I just go around and look for this black smoke sort of a thing, and then I kill whatever is that comes out of that. And I stop any portals from opening up as well. I'm just seeing that I close portals so that no more of these black things can come out. So I close them up. And if there's any portals that are around, I close them up. So I
So, what happened between you and Anubis?
think there was just seeing that he gets hurt again, but it's really no good this time, and it's like I can see the light going from his eyes. I'm like, no, 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 no. And like I just like I've grown like a bit attached to this being at this time. So I actually, take his helmet off and armor off right there. And I know he doesn't like this, but he's going, and I'm really upset. Like he's been hurt in some way. He's been badly hurt more than before. And I'm crying, I guess. And like I push everyone else away, push him away, and and then like I think I run away with him there. Like I run somewhere else, like to a stream or a river or something. And I start taking the rest of his armor off. And he's got this, it's just almost been like, yeah, he's not going good. He's been like hit in a vital part of himself, like stabbed pretty badly by something. I'm trying to see where, like, what happened to have him like this? What happened to him? I think there was this big sort of one of these one of these big reptile beings had, I think something sliced into him, just sort of seeing that he just fell over, or like there's just so much going on that I don't even know how it happened, actually. Don't even know how it happened. All I know is that, I found him like this, and then I was like, this is no good. So I take all his armor off, and then there's just all this blood everywhere, and like I'm like using my abilities to close him up quickly. Close him up quickly. And then when I get him like closed up externally, there's still a lot of internal damage, but I get him closed up in that sense. And I'm seeing that, I then, start to take him to this river or stream thing, and wash all of that stuff off and clean him off. Begin to clean off the blood again. And yeah, he's unconscious. And he's just this long, sort of lanky, one of those elf beings. And I'm just like cleaning him off, and then I'm going to I'm gonna have to go and put him in the tent and take care of him, but there's the battle still going on, so I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do because I need to look after him, but I think I actually choose to look after him instead of go out there. I just tell the extraterrestrial guys, I'm like, you need to go out there and take care of it, and then, I will heal him up while he's in this place because he's, kind of like drifting in and out of consciousness. And like, I was really upset. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want him to pass away. So I'm just like, I'll just kind of, abandon the battle at this point, which is pretty silly, but there's like there's a connection there with this being that, makes me want to do that. That makes me concerned for him, for his welfare. And so I see like I heal him up a lot more until he can begin to open his eyes, but I think it's hours at this point. And some of them, like the extraterrestrial warriors, they're coming into the tent, they're like, you need to get out there. And I'm like, he's still not okay. And then they're like, well, what's it gonna be? And I'm like, I'm kind of I feel like maybe yeah, like I'm a little bit self-serving at this point because I just want to save this being.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, you guys take care of it. You have the training. You have the training. You take care of it. And then they're like, there's the black things, the black beings. And I'm like, okay, just try and avoid those ones. Like I've kind of gone into this hyper focus sort of mode, like, save this being. He's, you know, he's not doing good. Save him. And like I begin to understand why I'm like connecting in with this sort of this being's, I guess, energy field. And like I feel like, in many past lifetimes, I was like this being's mother. So I feel this connection. So I'm not caring so much about what else is going on. I want to look out for this one. And so, he regains consciousness and like I'm smiling, but oh, I don't think he's very happy with me actually. I think he's a bit angry with me. And he's just like, you should have just let me die. I'm like, I didn't want to let you die. It's very complicated. So I'm like, I get a bit embarrassed and then I just leave him there in the tent to recover. And then I go out and in on the battlefield again and I'm kind of crying. Like, I don't know, this kind of hurt my feelings a bit. Like I feel like maybe I'm a bit silly. And so I get up on my elk again and it's really bad. I've really done like I've yeah, it's not good when I come out because a lot of my men have been killed. And it's because I was kind of silly. And I feel like this is going to have a negative consequence on me later on. It makes me look bad. Makes me look bad. Like I already kind of, I'm on shaky grounds because like, I'm a female and I don't think they respect me as much. But I can do things that are pretty amazing, so they kind of respect me for that. But it's kind of a bit of an idiot with this one, but I just had to look after him. So I'm out there and it's the Nephilim beings come out to play while I've been gone. And this is really not good. And I could sort of feel intuitively that it was there, but I was ignoring that and I was looking after Anubis. And he's just playing with people. He just loved the fact that I wasn't there. And he's just, taking full advantage of that. So as soon as I come out, I see this thing and he's just, killed like, dozens of people. And, the other extraterrestrial warriors are looking at me like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is when you come out? This is when you come out? Like it's too late. Like, you're a joke. So they're upset. Everyone's upset. I'm embarrassed. Anubis is like, you should have just let me die. I just feel really embarrassed and I'm just like, crying under my helmet. Um, just feel like an idiot. And so like I take this thing and it's taunting me. It's just like it knows that I feel like I'm an idiot, this Nephilim being, and it's just like, it's this thing with big thing with wings, and it's just got these glowing sort of eyes, and it's just like it's a fallen angel type of being that it's the one of the ones that came out of the portal in Atlantis to begin with, and I know this. And it's just like, what have you been waiting for? I've just gone and I've just killed almost all of your men. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's taunting me, this thing. I'm so embarrassed. I'm just really embarrassed. And so I'm like, you know, don't give me any cheek. Stop giving me cheek. And I start to wrap it up in these chains of light. And it's just still laughing at me, laughing and laughing. It's just, and I start to wrap up its wings and whatnot and like condense it. And I dismount off of my, I dismount off of my elk and I go and chain it up. And it's like kind of like start to have hand-to-hand combat with this thing. It's kind of a little strange, but it's grabbing me and I'm like, grabbing it, and it's tries to, like sink its claws into my back, and then, it's just like this hand-to-hand fight with this thing. And like, I should have just taken care of it. It would have been so much easier had it not got to this stage. And now I'm just like, fighting with this thing. I sort of see it and then I just, sort of grab its neck, and then when I got a hold of its neck, then I push this like pulse of light that comes out of my hand, and then it decapitates it, and it's you know it these things are gross. It's still wriggling around. And so, I don't want its head to come back either. Like they do weird things. These things, they grow back parts and they're very tricky from their physical body. I feel like, it's like it's not over yet. But like, I'm just like sort of grabbing parts of it and then just like pushing all of this light out of it like an explosion of light. I'm just like so, tired, and it's just wriggling around and just screeching. Like, ugh, even with its head gone, it's screeching. It's just awful. And, it just feels awful. And I'm like, just like, I'm telling it, like, I'm not in the right frame of mind, even. Like, I don't even have compassion for it anymore. Like in the first instance, because I'm so embarrassed because of, arriving late. I just sort of grab it and then just explode my energy field out, so it's on fire and it's screaming, and and it's not very nice, but it's just like I'm sort of scrambling to get the situation under control, so I don't feel like it's very compassionate. I feel that this was like a big mistake.
So, what is the pattern that you had during that lifetime that they were talking about with Anubis?
This happens later on as well, because after I get rid of this being, then I go back into this to the tent I see, and then like he's in this process of recovery, and he's a bit angry with me, but I keep visiting him, and there's other forces that we need to take care of as well, so we just sort of stay in this place. And so the battle's over and everyone's kind of appears to be, disappointed in me. But, I go to Anubis a lot, and then I look out for him and help to heal him and whatnot. And then we share this, I see we begin to share this connection with one another, like on a deeper level. And, I like he likes me. he starts to like me. And then I start to like him as well. And I guess that's where that sort of begins. But I see that we like each other, as these sort of battles progress, and we go to one battle and another battle and another battle. We're traveling from place to place to all of these different places and then liberating them. And I see that there's like this connection that forms. And like I begin to have a relationship with him. But like I think I ask the being that I came with for permission with this. Because, the Elohim beings, I think they're like polyamorous. So I ask him for permission with that. Apollo. I ask him for permission. And he just sort of says yes. This is okay. It's okay with him. So I feel like maybe on these journeys I travel to meet Apollo astrally, and then, and ask him for permission through with that, because, I think there's a relationship that develops as we travel around. And, he doesn't want people to know what he looks like, but I know what he looks like. I don't really care. He just looks like, one of those elf beings. And so, we fight in these battles, and then we go back to the tent sort of area, and I can see that there's like this vulnerability that starts to emerge with him. And he's very like stoic at first, but then, and I get to know him, he's very sensitive and very loving. And then so that appears to take place, and not like I'm sort of in this healing role. I see that I'm healing him, that I'm, after each of these battles, then I'm telling him off for putting himself at risk, and, and then healing him again, healing all of these cuts on his body. I get like upset with him for putting himself in harm's way all of the time. And he sort of gets embarrassed because I'm a bit like smothering. But then we sort of have a relationship that I see. And, I don't know if anyone knows about it. I don't know if any of the other soldiers or anyone knows about it. I think the other ETs definitely, they know about it. They know about it. They know that, he's always in my tent because, he gets injured, and then I'm like, okay, well, you basically park yourself in here now so I can take care of you. So I take care of him, and then, I do all of these sort of things. Like I'm a healer as well, and I heal him with my hands. I heal all his cuts and whatnot. And then I heal him emotionally as well. So do this thing where I sort of like he gets like a bit of like, PTSD sort of a thing. So I'm just seeing that, like I sort of hold him very close, and then, put all of these healing energies around him, and then he stops shaking. And then he's not so angry with me anymore. Well, it wasn't like he was angry. It was just that I feel that, like it's just like looking out for him a bit too much. It was just embarrassing. Like I'm seeing that like I kind of he goes out and he goes into battle, and I see that there's this big sort of thing coming to get him, and then I'm like, stop whatever I'm doing and then go and take care of whatever that thing is. And he just sort of, in his armor, he just turns around and looks at me like, like I've got it, you don't need to be doing this all of the time. And I just sort of, yeah, it's it's quite funny. It's quite funny because um I feel like he feels like, he likes me a lot, but I'm a little bit too um in your face sort of a thing about it. I'm a bit smothering. He doesn't want anyone to see that, he obviously doesn't want the enemy to see that he's weak. Let's just put it that way.
Is there anything that from that lifetime and that experience with Anubis that needs to be released and integrated for this lifetime?
Mm, yeah, because I'm seeing that I did do the wrong thing towards the end when we weren't on this sort of war mission anymore. And I went, he went his separate way and I went my separate way. And this I'll get the higher self to have this perspective because I feel like a little bit confused by this, by what I'm seeing. I'll just let the higher self to, if we can ask the conscious mind to recede fully.
Yeah, so if the conscious mind can recede fully and allow the higher self to come in to answer the question that what needs to be released or integrated from that experience with Anubis.
Mm. It's because the relationship wasn't what she wanted it to be. So there was an incident where he, after all of these battles took place, he wanted to continue on with a sexual relationship with her, but she was not always I guess up for this all of the time. But she was at that point in time, and they were doing things in the tent, and she very much had a loving connection with him in this situation. However, when she moved away from that, there was other beings that she involved herself with, and he felt a longing for this connection again, but he could not communicate effectively with her. He could not communicate this desire effectively within himself. So I'm seeing that he just stalked her one day. And well, not stalked, but he followed her while he made his physical body, he shifted dimensions so he was not visible. And then while she was around the temples of Egypt, he followed her into one of these when she was just wandering around in the night. She couldn't sleep, so she was wandering around. And then he followed her into this, and this was long after the conflict situation took place. And then he reappeared himself like, it's me again. And she was very surprised, and she was like, okay, it's nice to see you again. But then he was telling her telepathically, I'm still very interested in you. And he knew that she had somewhat, she was having other relationships at that time, and she had moved on from that time point in that particular lifetime. And then so what he did was he activated her sacral chakra and looked into her eyes and did this sort of it's hard to describe this psychic ability where one is he took away her inhibitions, like made her in a drunken state with psychic ability, and then activated the sacral chakra. And this was very she did not feel really respected in this sense. She wished that he would be able to ask her and communicate this with her in a better way, but did this instead because he didn't know how to deal with his feelings. So there was this sort of thing that happened, and this took place, and then there was a sexual interaction. And then she was left afterwards feeling very much like she had been taken advantage of. And so her feelings were upset, but she loved this being, but she decided to cut him off. She decided to cut him off and not talk to him. And this was very upsetting for her. And she regretted it greatly that she did the wrong thing, and she should have just talked to him. This was a communication mistake. And she was dealing with her feelings of feeling very embarrassed and overbearing because of what was happening in the conflict in that particular lifetime, how she made mistakes. There was all sorts of different feelings that went into this. And Anubis is here. He knows what went on. It's perfectly fine. And we have actually forgiven this. However, the pattern still comes into place because she feels shame and she feels unworthy. She cuts them off. And because if she feels a little bit offended by anything that they did, she cuts them off. So this is very much her coming to terms with the divine masculine as well. So I'm just going to release this for her so she can understand where these complicated feelings come from, and then release some of this so she doesn't have to replay it again and again. She will have more chances to figure things out with the masculine again and again. She does not have to repeat this. She can do it differently this time.
So this time, what advice do you have her when she comes up against events like that, where she starts to feel the unworthiness or closing herself off? What do you advise for her to do in those moments?
Just know that she is always loved and she will always be safe. She feels like she is not safe because of the things that have happened to her. She feels like she is a target, and so she closes herself off. But she needs to open up and open up to the masculine, because when she closes herself off, then they close themselves off to her, and it makes it very hard to communicate with each other what each other's feelings are. It's okay for her to tell someone, I love you. It's okay to say those words. Even if they do not hear it, you can still say it, and it is good. You need to say those words more often. She is even afraid to say those words. I love you to a man.
I understand with what has happened in this past life and with her current life that she's experiencing, why that would be there. Will the upgrades and the healing that you're giving her right now and the opening up, will that help for this lifetime and the past lifetime?
Yes, this is why Eros is here, to give this activation within me as well, within the lower self, because I am in this healed position, but she is needing to open up to love on this greater level. And this is something that she will be working on for some time. But if she starts to do it now, and she starts to do it in a physical sense with men in her life, because it's easy for her to love Apollo or her guides or Eros or any of these beings. It's very, very easy for her to do this, but it's very, very hard for her to love in a physical body, masculine in a physical body. She gets very confused. She doesn't know what to do. And we need to be able to take this unconditional love and then pull it into the body. And so this is what Eros is doing. He is assisting with this. And especially with the damage of the sexual organ. And she was feeling very confused with this. There is so much distortion on the earth plane to do with the masculine and feminine interacting with each other. It is so confusing for the body complex. The body did not feel safe when she experienced this trauma in the past. The soul evacuated the body, and the body complex was left on its own. So the body has a lot of trauma to do with being left on its own, because she got traumatized. She evacuated the body. So we are just bringing her more into this. And she was not connecting with the sexual organ. She was just forgetting about it. She did not even want to touch this for some time. Well, not touch, but her soul, her physical, her energetic essence was not touching this part of the body. it was sitting just above this part of the body and not going into the root and in to the complete soul star chakra. She was not, the energetic body was just floating above because it got scared of this connection in this area. There was a lot of grief, a lot of confusion. And Apollo, he has done a lot of work with this to help her back into the body to continue this process. But she needs to be in the body. She needs to be upgrading the body. She needs to be in the body. She needs to not be abandoning the sexual organ and leaving the body to just do whatever. She needs to be fully present in awareness. When she is in relationship, she needs to be present in her awareness and not afraid to express the love that would come from source through her. There is this disconnect with it all. She has been traumatized through this lifetime. So I am just going to disconnect that now. That, what would you call it? This angst about going into the body. I'm going to integrate this more for her. And Eros is here as well to give the pink ray of activation. And she is feeling uncomfortable with this. She feels uncomfortable with his beingness, this one Eros. She feels uncomfortable here on the bed right now because he is healing this sexual organ with love. And she is feeling like she does not deserve this, that this is too much for her. I'm just reminding her this is a part of you. This is a part of love. This is a part of your journey. You can be in a sexual relationship with divine masculine. It is part of your path to do so. And he is just providing this activation for her. But also he wants to give this message that it is time for the integration of the masculine and the feminine. Too long we have been against each other, and this will not do in the new age what goes ahead. This will not do. In order to switch on the sexual part of the crystalline body structure, in order to evolve as a species, we need to come together and acknowledge the feminine and the masculine within each other, within the body, and within the other bodies, the other selves. And this organ needs to be switched on. We cannot be dealing with shame anymore. Shame in the body complex to do with sexuality. We cannot be, this was something that was seeded in darkness, that was seeded from oppressive religious backgrounds and seeded into the earth plane. This is not Christian, this concept. Okay? The one known as Jesus did not bring this shame to the sexual organ, the sexual complex. Okay? Everything is one with God. This is what Eros is saying. Everything is one with God. Yes, even the sexual act is, especially the sexual act, is one with God. So in order to bring this in, we need to understand, we need to bring God into this. Okay, it is not difficult, well, in the soul to begin to explore this. All it needs is a different perspective, if you will, on sexuality. For many years, there has been so much shame attached to this. It's time for the shame to go. It is time for the shame to leave. And he is helping her with this. He is assisting this shame to leave the body complexes, the spirit complexes, the sexual organs.
I understand and appreciate so much you bringing that message of for us about shame and the way our bodies were meant to operate in union with God. And but do we need to be careful of the energy of the type of partner we let into our sexual energy field, or is that not a time anymore? Can we just be with anybody?
It is important for you to select which mate is appropriate for you as well. We have stopped her from selecting ones which would not be appropriate for her and stopped that from taking place. But you need to go into your heart and figure out who is the right person for you. And also, there are some telltale signs that you can look out for if that person, their sexual body complex has, well, it is harboring discordant energies. Okay, so in most humans, this is the case, but you can do healings and clearings with people before doing the sexual act, not during. You need to do this before doing this with someone. Just get the permission from their higher self to just help to clear some of these energies, just so that they don't jump onto you during the sexual act. Because as this can come in, sometimes these discordant energies can jump onto your sacral energy center and start to feed off of this. So this is what people would know as entities and so forth. This can be sexually transmitted to each other. But really, these are often just discordant parasitic sort of energies that they do not have a soul spark of their own. And they are just sort of consciousness, discordant pieces of consciousness. So when these are cleared, and you can assist your partner with this, if they are willing to do so, you can assist with this. But as well, just bringing that real love into it, because Eros is just telling me that humans hate themselves. This is the problem. Humans hate themselves, and this goes into their sexual life and causes them such shame that they forget to bring they do not bring spirit into the act. They do not bring spirit into the act. It is left purely physical, like the other person is just masturbating with the other one's body. And this is Eros is just telling me that this going forward, you will figure out what is discordant and then what is not, what is in tune with the divine in regards to this. He says that the sexual act just needs to be thought of completely differently entirely, and that it is best to not have sex with people who do not actually realize that you have a soul, who are so focused in the physical that they are just viewing you as a body. He's saying that this is not the type of partner that you want. These people will pass away when they need to pass away, and then they will go on to a different sort of physical 3D existence where they can learn the lessons which they need. But you do not what you are searching for in a partner is this connection, and she has difficulty with this connection. I'm just explaining to him that she has difficulty to try and find this connection. And then he's just telling me that this connection is something that needs to be developed within yourself before you go and have sex with another. This oneness within yourself. And this is very important. And he is now just giving her an activation to do with this so that she can begin that process into unconditional love more rapidly. But she will need to do this in the physical world as well. She cannot just leave this in the spiritual sense. She will need to go into the physical world and to experiment with someone and who is on that same wavelength as her. When she finds this out within herself and just lets that love blossom out and brings this love from the heart area and then pull it down into the lower chakras, pull it down, pull this higher energy, this beautiful energy, and then pull it down. And she knows the way, she knows how to do this, but this is like just a stumbling block for her.
So how is the integration of all of that with her body going right now?
Yes, she's integrating into this. She was feeling a little bit uncomfortable when the pink ray, the ray of unconditional love, was focused on her lower centers, but she will get used to it. She will get used to this. She is afraid of her own power in these centers. And I am just removing this fear for her. Just going to remove it. Remove this fear, because she has actually a lot of power within the Kundalini centers, within the masculine and the feminine energy centers that curl around each other as a creator Elohim being. And she was scared of this. She was scared of letting this take over. But it's okay. When the body is in balance, this does not take over. This does not take over. You will not feel this taking over.
That's beautiful. Are there any final messages from any of the beings today before we close out today's session?
This energy, this love from source, just simply needs to be pulled down into these energy centers, these sexual energy centers. We need to bring love into this dark place of humanity, and this will transform this energy of lust into a higher vibrational perspective. Well, not that, but it will transform it into, alchemize this energy center into something that is in harmony with the universe itself. This is what we are doing, and this is what we want to impress upon the peoples, is this feeling of love within the sexual, because this is a part of God. If we just start with this before we even get into, well, the creation energies and how that works, we just want humanity to just feel love in these lower energy centers, and to be able to say, I love you, is very, very powerful to the one that you love. If you just say, I love you from the heart, this is enough to start a change within your own body and within your own soul. just to say, I love you. Just to say this. And already it is clearing her body. Already, just by saying, I love you.
Mm.
The words are magic. And you can use this. And she feels emotion within this center now. It's clearing. I feel like donking her on the head because all she needed to say was, I love you. It's just all of this emotion is flowing out.
Mm. I'm grateful that she has had this opportunity to get this integration now and to get the understanding of what the tools in her toolbox to be able to navigate her experiences moving forward. I know you may feel like in donking her on the head, but it's also being here in the world and experiencing these things with less of a connection with you guys, our higher selves. It can feel very dense at times where simple tools are hard to reach or hard to see for us. We just get caught in the density. So thank you for providing her tools today. Thank you for providing her healing. She deserves it. She's a beautiful soul. And I appreciate everyone who came on this journey with us today and shared their experiences and helped us along the way.
And we love you, and we are happy to say that. It brings us great joy.
Thank you. We love you too.
Thank you.